Hi everyone, this is Bill, back with another video. Most of you know me as the well-worn hiker, but today I'm going to be the well-worn camera reviewer. We're going to take a look at the cameras that I used to film my videos with a brief look at why I chose them. And then we're going to take a first look at my newest camera as I unbox the Fujifilm XA7. So I hope you'll stick around. Now you may not be surprised to learn that the idea for the well-worn hiker videos came while I was hiking. I was getting ready for a rim-to-rim hike of the Grand Canyon, and I've been watching a lot of videos to get some idea about what to expect. As I was doing my training hikes in preparation, I began to think about how I might narrate the hike that I was on that particular day. And soon I began to think about what subjects I could cover if I were ever to do a YouTube channel. Now I have to admit, I knew nothing about YouTube at the time. For me, it was a place to go find home improvement video tips and funny animal videos. What I did know was that I would need a camera, and I thought it would be nice to be able to shoot a video of some of my hikes, even if it was only for myself. I operate on the premise that Google and YouTube are my friends, particularly when looking for information. And so that's where I went as I attempted to find out what kind of camera would best fit my needs. I decided pretty quickly in the process that what I wanted was an action camera. Action cameras are a great choice for the kind of outdoor videos that I would be shooting. They're compact and lightweight, durable, and they're really simple to use. Plus they have a real versatility that comes from an abundance of different mounts. And as I found out, there are a lot of different action cameras out there. Now, I didn't want to buy the cheapest camera available, but I also didn't want to buy the most expensive. So I looked at the reviews and recommendations and began to narrow the field down. The camera I ultimately chose was this, the Akaso V50 Pro. It has great reviews, great features, and I now know from personal experience, it has great customer service. Now it's able to shoot in 1080 by 60 frames per second, which is one of the things I was looking for. And as a bonus, it's also capable of shooting 4K at 30 frames per second. It has external microphone capability, although you do have to use a dedicated Akaso mic. It has great image quality and very, very good color, falling just slightly behind the more expensive GoPro Hero 7 Black that was at the head of the field at the time. It can connect to a great app on your phone, which really comes in handy if you're shooting a video of yourself. It also has a wearable remote that looks something like a wristwatch, and it has electronic image stabilization, although I would find out it really needed more. I found out through no fault of the camera about Akaso's customer service. On my first major hike carrying the camera, I fell on Hermit's Trail in the Grand Canyon when loose rocks shifted beneath my feet. And unfortunately my fall landed me right on the camera, putting a large scratch on the lens. I contacted the customer service folks to see if they could replace the lens, but unfortunately they were unable to do so. But what they did do was ask for confirmation of my purchase through Amazon, and even though the warranty had expired, they asked me to return the camera and all the attachments, and they sent me a brand new one. As I mentioned, there are a number of different kind of mounts that allow you different options on how to mount the camera. I wanted to mount the camera on a backpack strap and shoot trail video. And while the stationary videos I shot were excellent, those that I shot while on the trail were really not what I'd hoped they'd be, as you'll see in this clip. I needed a way to stabilize the image while hiking. So back I went to my friends, Google and YouTube, and began to search for ways to make that happen. It was soon evident that I needed something called a gimbal. A gimbal is a tool that uses motors and sensors to support and stabilize the camera. They make a huge difference in video quality, and fortunately, they're really affordable. I discovered that there are two different types of gimbals, wearable and handheld. And while I was planning to use it as a wearable device, I ultimately chose to purchase a handheld gimbal, even though that meant I would have to come up with some way to mount it on my backpack. But the advantage of a handheld gimbal is that you're able to replace the battery, which means that you can have a spare fully charged battery ready to go when the battery in the unit runs down. The wearable gimbals I looked at all had internal rechargeable, non-replaceable batteries. The units all had a charging port, which works well when you're recharging them in your office. But it's rather difficult when you're hiking in the Grand Canyon. I read the various user reviews, watched YouTube videos, and was just about ready to order one manufactured by a company called Feiyu-tech when I came across this bad boy right here. Also manufactured by Feiyu-tech, this is called the Summon Plus, and it's not just a gimbal, it is a combination action camera and gimbal. And while I wasn't looking for another action camera, the price on this unit made it too hard to pass up. Like the Akaso Pro, the Summon Plus is capable of shooting in 1080 by 60 frames per second, and like the V50 Pro, it can also shoot in 4K at 30 frames per second if I ever decide to use that capability. The first generation of this unit, simply called the Summon, had some real issues with picking up motor noise, making it really unsuitable for shooting video while narrating, while hiking. It was really obnoxious. The Summon Plus has more than addressed that issue and gives really great sound. It actually has two built-in mics that do a great job of recording not only the voice of the user, but also the sounds around. Now I had to figure out a way to mount the camera, and I came across this. It's called a mounting ring, and it's advertised to work with certain Feiyu-tech gimbals, although the Summon Plus was not listed as compatible. But I took a chance that Feiyu-tech would have the same size handles on all their gimbals, and it fits like a glove. So with this mount, I'm able to attach the camera gimbal to a chest mount. I'm easily able to power the camera up and hit the record button. It also has a joystick, which enables me to move the camera from side to side and up and down. The primary negative that the reviewers listed was the fact that the rear screen was a little dark. And it is. If I were shooting this as a handheld unit on a bright sunny day, that would be an issue. But when connected to my chest mount, I can't really see the screen unless I have the camera pointing down. Another negative is the fact that it has a single battery in the handle that powers both the camera and the gimbal. And as a result, the battery life is just a bit short. And that's where a replaceable battery is really a must. And finally, there's no way to add an external microphone. Here's what you get on a windy day. Here you see a part of the Hermit Trail. Finally, this camera is not currently available on Amazon, although it does show up on the Feiyu-tech website, costing over twice as much as what I paid through Amazon. So I began to shoot my videos with these two cameras. One of the downsides of action cameras is that they have a really wide-angle lens, and even when set to record on the narrowest angle, there's still a bit of distortion on the video. Now, as it turned out, I already owned a camera capable of shooting video. It's actually what I'm using to shoot this video. It's my Nikon P530. I bought it several years ago for the sole purpose of still photography. I knew it shot video, but I'd never used it in that manner. I was surprised to find out that it would shoot 1080 by 60 frames per second video. Like the Feiyu-tech, it doesn't have the option of an external mic, but the internal mic works really well, particularly if you're indoors. But recently I've begun to think about getting a better camera to use in my videos. I decided that I wanted something that could take an external mic. I could use a lapel mic with a windsock for outdoors. And while that might not eliminate wind noise, it would drastically reduce it. I wanted something with a bigger image sensor that would give more detail and better color saturation. And I wanted something with a better lens, perhaps something even with interchangeable lenses. but I wanted to stay with something that's light and compact, and it seemed to me that what I needed was a mirrorless camera. A mirrorless camera is a kind of hybrid. It gives you the interchangeable lens capability of a DSLR, but the body size is closer to that of a point and shoot. And just like the action cameras, there are a lot of different cameras in that category. Once again, I began to research cameras, and this is the camera I chose. It's called the Fujifilm XA7. Let's take our first look at it. I ordered this from Adorama, whom I'd never dealt with before, but I must say they really do a great job. Their website actually said that this camera was not in stock, but they had a shipment coming in within a few days. So I went ahead and ordered it, and sure enough, I received an email a couple of days later saying that the cameras had arrived and they would be shipping mine out as soon as possible. Then the very next day, I received another email telling me the camera had been shipped. Now the Fuji XA7 has a 24 megapixel sensor, which is huge in comparison to those found in action cameras. In my opinion, this is the best value in the market for cameras with its features and capability. Fuji has a great reputation for image quality, color saturation, and like my other cameras, it's capable of shooting both 1080 by 60 and 4K by 30 video. It has an external mic input, although for some reason they built it with a 2.5 millimeter input rather than the more standard 3.5. But they do include an adapter, at least I hope they do, so we're covered there. Now, one of the things that appealed to me about this camera was the rear screen. While most cameras come with a rear screen, at 3.5 inches, this one has one of the largest ones out there, and its resolution is quite a bit higher than its competitors. It's fully articulating, which helps with image composition, particularly when you're shooting in selfie mode. And because the camera doesn't have an electronic viewfinder, that rear screen also doubles in that capacity. It comes packaged with a Fujinon XC 15 to 45 millimeter lens, which gets kind of mixed reviews for some reviewers, but it's got good focal length, and the images are really sharp. It features both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which makes transferring images through what's called the Fujifilm Camera Remote app a breeze. So let's take a look at it. Well, overall, I really like the feel of the camera. It's got some heft to it, but it's still pretty lightweight, especially when you compare it to some of the DSLR cameras that are on the market. Now, because the camera doesn't have image stabilization, I may soon find myself in the market for another gimbal, although I'm not sure I want to take a chance of falling on a $600 camera. I'll take off the cap there. We have the lens that it has. This is the lens that comes with it, the Fujinon XC. Let's see, that fits right in here. Somewhere it fits like so. Oh, looky there. We are in place. And there's the camera. Here's the screen that we were talking about earlier. You see it swings out like that. It can do this and go back 180 degrees, and you see yourself. And it can even be when you it can even turn the screen inward if you want to protect it from dust or for anything outside. So that's really neat. It comes with the battery, and I will need more of those. Now, one of the things that I did read was that the battery life is not quite what they'd hoped, so I will have at least one more of these and maybe two. Always have one charged up and with you when you're traveling. It comes with the charge cable, which we use, and here is the adapter for the microphone input. The mic, I have no idea where it is. It has a flash, pop-up flash there if you're for camera mode, film mode, camera mode, whatever I'm trying to say. I'm excited about this. So I'm going to go charge the battery up, and play with my new camera. So I hope you found this video and the process that I use in selecting and purchasing my cameras helpful. That's it for now. Check back soon for more videos dedicated to hiking and backpacking. My name is Bill, and I am the Well-Worn Hiker.